Well, good morning, West Ham fans. So, was Lopetegui our first choice, or a second choice, or a third choice, or a fourth? Well, good morning, one and all. Hope you're safe and well. New around here, and you like what we do, give it a like. It's free. Give it a comment, or even subscribe. We are close to 25,000 subscribers on the channel, which is mental. But I wanted to talk a bit about the process in terms of sign of J-Lo becoming West Ham head coach. Obviously not official. We know that announcement is pretty much one of the worst kept secrets in football at the moment. Will be made, I believe, probably next week after obviously the game on Sunday, and we're led to believe that he's already working with Tim about getting stuff done. By all accounts, according to, I think it was a report in Claret and Hugh, he is looking to get transfers moving pretty sharpish, as we know there's a hell of a rebuild job. But I wanted to talk about sort of before this announcement, because there was an article, a quite interesting article in Blin, the German publication, which claimed that J-Lo wasn't the first choice. Indeed, he might have been the second choice. Indeed, he might have been third choice. As we know that Ruben Amorim was favoured by many as the potential number one. There was obviously the speculation around him with taking the flight and all that type of stuff. We know that apparently, and again, we always say apparently because it's just what we're read in the papers and read from rumours, 90Ks and things like that. We don't actually know the true story. But Amorim was very much favoured by Mark Noble and Tim Steidten. Although apparently we've heard contrary reports that Steidten was very impressed when he spoke to Lopetegui in terms of his philosophy. So there was a number of people injured. Also, there were links to us with Paulo Fonseca as well. But according to an article in Blin, West Ham had turned to a very familiar face in terms of being our next head coach. And it was actually the former West Ham assistant manager, Edin Terzic. Now, this has been quite a contentious idea. As I said, the article in Blin said that he was approached by West Ham, but he rejected the chance to replace David Moyes. This could have been a couple of weeks ago. We don't know, but it seems like it came to nothing, obviously. And so, what I find interesting is that the net was cast, wide and being was wide and far in terms of who potentially we could get as a next head coach. Sean on Twitter took to that story and basically said that the German media completely incorrectly suggested that West Ham were having second thoughts about hiring J-Lo, with it claiming that he wasn't the only managerial candidate being considered, and instead suggested obviously the former West Ham assistant coach, Edin Terzic, the Borussia Dortmund head coach, as a potential. And they also claimed that, I think that Blin article also claimed that Lopetegui was still an option for Bayern Munich, who apparently look like they're going to try and maintain Thomas Tuchel. So although it was quite funny to say, we were saying actually it was the way they handled it, I thought was very professional in terms of them saying to Munich that, we're going to go elsewhere. They've sort of gone back at themselves a little bit now, so it looks a bit silly. But I have no doubt that Edin was approached. We know Tim does his due diligence. As I said, there will be a number of coaches who were probably sounded out for the role. J-Lo being one of them. Ruben Amorim, I'm sure, was one of them as well. Edin I can guarantee, was one, and probably Paulo Fonseca as well, at least. He's had a fantastic. Edin, obviously, he left West Ham when Slav was sacked in 2017. He was in and around Dortmund for a while, working as director of football and head coach. And then he became, I think it was a Care's interim manager in December. And then they won the domestic cup in Germany, I think, in May of that year. But he wasn't installed as the permanent head coach until a year later. And he nearly guided them to the Bundesliga title last year. And in fact, his team are in the Champions League final this year. So there's obviously something very special about him. It doesn't, by all accounts, he rejected West Ham's advances pretty much straight away. Partly was he was still in a job and he was still competing in the Champions League, and they got to the final. So I totally understand that. He also said that potentially the West Ham job would have been seen as a step down from Borussia Dortmund, possibly, maybe in terms of European status. I mean, they are in the Champions League final, and as I was saying to me hairdresser, my barber, Stephen. Yes, I do have a barber. I know it doesn't take him very long. It takes about 2 minutes to the haircut, and the rest we just talk about West Ham. I'm really enthused by the potential of J-Lo coming in as head coach. He wants the job, and I think that makes a massive difference. Somebody who wants a job rather than someone we have to bribe to pay in terms of giving them massive wages. J-Lo will be on a decent wage, but he's clearly been interested in the West Ham job for a long time. So it was interesting to see that article being published by Blin early this week. And and it's been since poo-pooed by the club that they are having second thoughts about J-Lo. They didn't deny the fact that they'd approached Edin, and I think that makes sense. Due diligence, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. For too long, we've been that club who does put all or nothing on one player or one manager or one head coach. They don't come to us, and then we end up getting sort of the bargain bucket. I don't think we've got that in terms of J-Lo. There's been some people are pro and against it, but I think let's give the guy a chance. I think there's lots of positives coming out. He's saying the right things in terms of incorporating the academy as and where. He's looking at maybe changing the captaincy, which I think, again, is an area we need to look at, and looking to get business done early, which is critical for the massive job we've got coming ahead. And indeed, if you want to keep on top of all the rumours, all the latest news, reviews, opinions, keep an eye on the West Ham Network. We try and bring you as much information as we can for you to save you having to sift through countless rumour websites and rumour articles and things like that. We do that for you. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. I should be back later on with the last David Moyes press conference as West Ham manager. Get your Kleenex ready. Much love. Bye-bye.